Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm Sharad Julka. Today we're talking about assessing the program's performance. So what is a program? A program, let's talk about a program in your enterprise, in your organization, is a set of projects running together. It could also be that you have a program of products running or services running together, where multiple teams work together over a period of time, which could be months, which could be years, to deliver a product, a solution to the customer. A program could also be multiple projects, multiple products. It depends on organization to organization how they define a program. Various agile methodologies, like for example, if we keep our context to Scale Agile framework, for example. In this, we see that the program is the second layer from bottom, which is implemented by an agile release train. It develops a working increment every few weeks, about 8 to 10 weeks. That is a program. Now, that is a cadence that they maintain to deliver program increment every 8 to 10 weeks, at the end of which they might or might not do a release. So release is any time. So that is the program. In this discussion today, we are going to talk about the performance of the program, how to gauge it, how to understand, how to measure that your program is running as per the expectation. So the question is, whose expectation? Is it yours as an enterprise, as a leadership, as a set of teams, or is it the organization to which you are delivering? So it is the customer. So which is the right way of assessing, from customer's point of view or from your point of view? And this is one question that is always asked in any of the management meetings, in any of the governance calls, and any of the leadership meetings. How do we measure that we are going good? How do we measure that we are on track? How do we measure that we are delivering value to the customer? How do we measure that we're getting value ourselves? Quick check that everybody is able to hear me, right? Okay, so assuming that everybody is able to hear me, I'll continue. Now, gauging the performance of a program is a multi-level activity. Now, for example, I go to Agile Manifesto, I go to the Agile Principles. There is one principle that says working software is the primary measure of progress. That is interesting. If we pick that one out and we focus on it, it means the only way to measure the progress of your delivery, progress of your software, is that how much of it is working. The question is, working where? I might call, you know what, I have developed a software, and maybe a piece of it, maybe pieces of it integrated together, and they are working. And so I can measure according to that. For example, now let's take an example. In my backlog, there are about 100 features, of which we have been implementing and have been able to complete and done, so then as in done, 50 features. So do we say that we are 50% ahead of where we started some time back? So we are 50% done. So is that the measure? Maybe right, maybe not. This working software is for whom? This is for the customer. Yeah, you agree with it, right? This is for the customer. Now, is the customer there or not? So primarily we know that there are two types of products. One is for a customer, so it's a customized based product. One is a strategy product. A strategy product is still not delivered to the customer. It is still in your own environment, in your own house. That means your software house, your organization. You might have a beta customer, you might have an alpha customer, you might have some testers who would be evaluating, and then there is a customized software which a customer is asking for. Now, in these two cases, your measure would change. And that is the way of measuring. So we can relate, the performance of the software according to whether it is working or not. So for the customer-based products and the programs which are delivering those products or solutions to customers, you can say, whatever is delivered to the customer, according to that, we can map our performance. You say our performance program, how is it going, how well, what's the quality, what is various things. We'll look at some parameters. And for strategy-based products where the customers do not exist, where the customers do not exist, maybe now not, it's a strategy. We're going to still push it to the market. We're going to market it. We're going to sell it outside. And for that matter, we might still have some beta users and say, you know what, this is right working state, and you can use it. Give us feedback. And for that, we might have some of our own measures. So there are two types of metrics, two types of measures. One, utilization based, how much we have utilized, how much we have used, how much we have delivered, and how much is actually creating value. You see, two ways of measuring. So let's look at these. Of one of them, you have already been talking about for some time. So what is the first one? Utilization based. Let's see some of the metrics. Can you think of it? I can think of story points. How many story points have been delivered over a period of time? That could very much give us a performance measure. So 100 features, story points, say for example 100 for simplicity. As we deliver, we can measure how many story points we are delivering every iteration, every program duration. That's one. And so we can measure, okay, this is what we targeted, this is what we have developed. We know this classic metric. I'm not going to go into detail. Then we have number of automated test cases. How many test cases we have automated? Just one of the testing parameters. One way, utilization. Some people like to do that. Velocity. This is the velocity, and this is a way of measuring. Totally utilization based. This is what our velocity. Now, you might say that story points and velocity is all the same. I might say, yeah, no. Why yes? When you're talking about teams. Velocity is for a team, velocity is for a program, for a duration. What is story points? Let's see. Story points for features which are developed and delivered over a period of time would tell the kind of the relativeness of each and every feature. Some programs like to measure velocity in terms of teams. Now that is where I was talking about the utilization part. So velocity of teams, so much of velocity we have. So instead of saying that we have delivered so many story points to you, we say this is the velocity we are delivering every iteration. Who might say this? Some of the product-based environments will talk about story points. Service-based environments will talk about velocity. The committed velocity and the delivered velocity, no matter the number of story points, yes or no. So even if the base of the construction for velocity is also story points, but then I would just take it out and say velocity may always not be measured in terms of story points. It will be number of hours as well. That is what somebody will do. And this is something that we might know. If you did not know, I'm telling you. Velocity can also be number of hours, number of days, number of ideal days, number of real days. That's also possible. So, which environment you are in, that according to that, you will pick up the metric. Okay, next, number of stories, throughput. Okay, throughput be one. Number of defects. Number of stories delivered per iteration. Is that a good measure? I'm still thinking. Number of defects. Number of defects which are generated, created, versus number of defects resolved. We can take that ratio and we can tell what's a performance. This is actually a performance, right? The maturity of teams. This question, this is what I'm thinking. Maturity is measured as what? Because we're going to see this maturity part again in some other slide. This maturity is a number of practices, the number of engineering practices, number of testing practices, development practices we have adopted, our teams have adopted over a period of time. And I continuously ask question, is your maturity of being able to use practices, would that be able to define the performance? And believe me, organizations take it as one of the measures of performance of their program. Throughput, number of stories delivered. Now this is very tricky part. You deliver 5 stories every iteration. I'm sure you can still think of, splitting those 5 into 6 into 7 stories and increase your throughput. Okay, not that I'm saying that you do it, but it can be done. I'm not sure if that is right performance, but yeah, that is also one of the ways of measuring performance. Now what happens is each of these, and I can put a development cost, the time to market, so many others. Each of these is a good way of measuring the performance, how your program is moving and delivering to the customer, delivering product, delivering features. And these are good. They are being used, they're still being used, and they will continue to be used. I am going to pick up something else as well. Okay, burn down was one. Predictability, okay, I just left that. What about outcome? Because we put in perspective the customer. And this is particularly from customer's point of view for customized products, customer-oriented products. 1 or 2 customers asking for a certain product, then you add more customers over a period of time, and so on and so forth. What could be the various metrics? What could be the way of measuring your performance? Your product's performance, your program's performance. Whether your program is moving right or not, your program is a successful program or not, where exactly it is. One of the metrics is agile journey, or the agile journey, either you call it, doesn't matter. You can take up parameters. Now, interestingly, just look at this. We looked at agile maturity in 2 slides back, and that was about the number of practices that you pick up over a period of time. What about the traits? What about your intent, your behavior leading to increase of performance? Can you measure that? Now that is one interesting. Can you measure that? Is it possible to measure the trust in the team? It is good English, right? I understand. It is English. It's all English. There's nothing in value. But tell me, if you can just deliver numbers and no value, it's possible. And so I pick up agile journey. Over a period of time, how much of delegation is going down? How much of transparency is coming into the team? How much of leadership capability? How much of leadership initiation, drive is there within the team? Obviously, in this particular session, my objective is not to pick each and every metric and go in detail for which we could utilize future sessions. But for now, yes, this is one of those metrics. And the question is how to do this, how to measure trust. Yes, that is what I said. We're going to talk about that later, definitely, sometime. But trust is one. Maybe there are others as well. You can pick up a couple of more. And you can see over a period of time, from October to December to February and April and June, where are we going? So you can say, maybe towards a period of time. And do I find that there is some change in some of the metrics? I think it's possible. I'm looking at this graph again. I'm finding there are some changes that we can do. Is it the right? Is it the right journey? I don't know. I mean, in terms of leadership, Uh, it was increasing over a period of time. It was decreasing over a period of time, transparency and all. You can check all that. I think that this graph needs some change. Look about this one. This is my favorite. Features running at customer's location. What is the number of features you deliver over a period of time? Look at the table here. Okay, I can see. So there are two charts here. One is the table that shows over a period of time, multiple months, um, multiple releases, what were the number of features delivered, and then there is a cumulative figure of number of features delivered over that period. And what is the last column? The last column is where we need to focus. Features in use by customer. We as an agile organization are developing features over a period of time. We have teams, we have the capability, we have the capacity, we have the enthusiasm, the motivation to develop. The question now is, are these features being used by customers? I hear many number of times customers coming back and saying, this feature you developed, we may not be using this month. We may not be using this release. We do not find a need of it right now. So could we just pick it up next? Could we just maybe we are not looking at it right now because it doesn't deliver value to us. Plus, we don't want to train our people. Whatever features you already gave last release, we're still catching upon the delivery, catching upon the training and utilization and seeing what value it brings to our customers and measuring that. So the features that you're delivering, maybe half of those we will use now, maybe some will just toggle off. This is a realistic scenario. Look at the CFD, the cumulative flow diagram. It shows you the number of features which are not in use, that's the orange, and the number of features that actually have been used, the blue area. But you have been developing features, you have been measuring, so you have been measuring your velocity, you've been measuring your story points, your throughput, your defects as going down, but how much of it actually is being used by the customer? This is one challenge that you will find. And the questions now are obvious. Should we stop delivering just to see the value as 100%? Because I can just take a comparison of the features in use by comparison by features delivered. So 5 by 10 in release 1.1. 1.1.1, it is 5 by 12. In October, it is 8 by, or release 1.2, it is 8 by 18. You see that that's been down. So do I stop developing? Do I stop delivering? Do I ask my teams not to work on features anymore? No, I find more customers. Or I find those features, those that the customer can consume. So the questions are multifold. Do we have the right size of teams? Have we got more people, more features, less in use, less value? Because now we are seeing from customer point of view. It could be just the other way. Customer might be asking for more, we are delivering less. But here the situation is different. So if you're able to map, now this is exactly where we talked about. I go a couple of slides back and look at this. Your program performance in terms of how much of it is actually working. You might say these features are delivered. They are in the working software. But is the customer actually using them, getting value? The question is, customer is going to pay for it. Okay, you're paid, you're good, you're happy. The organization is happy. But if they're not paying, we are not going to use them, then what do? Two things. Are we having the right size of teams, or we are delivering, or we have the right number of customers, or we should develop those or deliver those features which should actually be useful for the customer. That is one of the performance measures. One way of measuring your performance, your performance of your program. I'm sorry. So another one, similar to the last one that we did, cumulative flow diagram. How many are still analysis? How many are in execution? How many are done? And then you can get a gap of how much you are developing. So you can actually see, and from here you can see that if you draw a line you draw a horizontal line at any point in time, you can see the number of stories you deliver, or is it the time that is so horizontal? I'm sorry, is a time that a certain number of features are there in the backlog or in a certain state. They're in progress, you can say. The vertical line, let's focus on any win: review, analysis, execution. So if you focus on execution, you can say the number of features which were in execution at any point of time is that the vertical line, and take 2 points and you can divide. And if you cross it horizontally, is the duration on an average any particular feature stays in the backlog or stays in execution. So you can measure the performance according to this. You can see how much you're doing. Is your feature in progress, in analysis? You can say in review, analysis, execution. That's from backlog done. Between that time, for a longer period of time, so you can combine these 3 columns. You combine these 3 states and get a much broader CFD. This is a cumulative flow diagram, by the way. So you can get that, and you can see it. You can measure how many of your features stay in a system for a certain time and how long they stay, both. And then you can easily find whether the performance is good or not, because the most common that I hear is we are delivering features every month. But if you go into the backlog, if you go into and develop and create this cumulative flow diagram, you might find that the average size or average duration, what we call as a lead time for any feature, is about 45 days, which is not a good reflection of your churning out stories every month. The two are talking differently. When you're saying every 1 month we are delivering, one time you're saying it's system in your system in execution and in progress, your feature stays for a longer time than a month. So you need to see the cumulative program. So that will give you a better idea of your performance. Just looking at what is your delivery cycle might not give you the right number. Also look at the cost of delay. So cost of delay says you might have features in your backlog which are done but not delivered. Now this is a complex table. I don't intend to give you the full picture of the table, but just look at some of the features that are done. If you consider the current release as 9.3, just say the current release is 9.3. How many features are done? I can count done. Done 1, second row, third, fourth, fifth row, sixth row, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th row. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 are done. How many of those are actually going to be released in this release? The current release is 9.3. 1. And rest are still not going to be released, still not going to be delivered. What is the essence of? What's the value of doing? Because they are higher priority, maybe? I don't know. 264 doesn't look like a high priority. Maybe they are small. Maybe they are easy. Maybe they were the independent ones, and they were more dependent features. So it could be any reason, but they are delivered. You invested time on them, so you might not be able to say that it was not right working on them because they might be independent ones. But then the question is, did you deliver value? You spent your capacity, but you were not delivered. So this is one. This is a cost. You're not delivered. One is that you have features. Maybe they are, even prioritized, but you're not clearing them. Whatever. Then there are some features prioritized but not ready. Some reason you don't have clarity. You might be dependent on somebody who is not, some other team, some other group, some other ART, some other program, which is still not delivering, and you are waiting. Maybe it is on hold because of some reason, some clarity. Maybe it is a very high-risk feature. So you can have both these kind of situations where you're running into high cost of delay, where the cost of delay goes every iteration, it goes up and up and up. I don't have the graph here, but it could be easily displayed how if you put a dollar value to each of these features and you see over a period of time they are not delivered, what will the cost of delay going to look like? So what we saw, and I just go back, maybe again a few slides back and see how many. So we saw, let's say, some metrics which are utilization based, some are, and some are value based. So some are activity based, some are outcome based. Story points, number of automated test cases, velocity, number of stories, defects, maturity, report development cost, TTM, burn down, you have predictability. So many of these are telling you about the team, about your organization, how you are doing it, how you are developing, how you are delivering. The other set of matrices, how it is bringing value to you. So there is one way of checking your program performance is your performance, your program. One way is how you are working. One is how you are getting value. So there are two ways, and the question now is which way you want to look at. You want to look at how you are doing, how you are delivering, or what is the value that you're getting at the end of it. So it is up to you. I don't think there is a right answer that you should go only with these and not with these. I think the good one is to have a combination. I think you will agree. Yes, it would be good to have a combination of them, pick up few, maybe pick up all. But don't start doing all of them from the first day. To measure your performance of your program, it is good to pick up one by one. Also see how you are delivering, how you are generating value, how you are delivering, how you are improving your quality, improving your practices. Because unless you do that, you may not be able to create value. So it is good to measure those. And it is also good to measure the value, what is what's coming back to you, what the customer is using. And then it'd be good to go forward. Okay, so look at that. That's the end of it. Wonderful, I like that. I'm able to speak, and I'm through with it. Thank you for your time. It was about assessing your program's performance.